Welcome to 2024. I hope all of you guys had a pretty good holiday. It's been kind of rough for me and Stacy. We've both been actually sick over the last couple of weeks. She got sick first, and then I've been sick for the last week or so. Hopefully you can hear what I'm saying. I want to start by apologizing that the 3D printer is running. I've got a couple of really long prints that I have to go through for a project that I'll probably be showing you guys next week, but I can't stop that right now. So there's probably going to be some printer noise through most of this video. Also, this video is probably going to be a little bit short because I am still feeling sick. I've almost lost my voice. My throat's still a little bit sore. So I do want to give you guys a video, but it's probably going to be a little short this week. The main thing I'm going to focus on this week is showing you guys the updates on the AE86 oil catch can. So we did our pre-order for our Black Friday sale, and we estimated it to be about a 4-week delivery. Unfortunately, because of the sickness that we've been having, and honestly because we sold quite a few more than we had expected, the delivery date's going to be pushed back a little bit. We're expecting probably the middle to the end of this month. So the things that I haven't already covered about the catch can are the oil baffle in the catch can itself and how I was going to seal everything together. So let's start off with the oil baffle. So here's the oil baffle for the catch can, as well as the newly updated mounting bracket. I'll start with the baffle. So this baffle is going to go inside of the oil catch can, and it's going to split the area in between where the breather hoses connect to it and the breather filter ventilates. So this is the prototype catch can body. The production version is going to be fairly similar, but the main differences are going to be that there are going to be some bosses on the inside here that are going to mount this baffle. And this baffle is going to drop about 3/4 of an inch down into this catch can here. And this lifted up edge is going to flare up just over the fitting for the breather filter. This is going to allow us to separate all of the stainless steel meshing from the back side of the catch can that has the breather element. So the stainless steel mesh is going to work at separating all of the oil away from the air. All of the oil is going to drip down to the bottom of the can where it can be drained out, and then through these holes, and also through a passage on the bottom of the catch can, the cleaned air is going to be able to ventilate up out of the filter. So that's how the baffling is going to work in this, and probably I'll have some pictures of the production version of this next week for you guys. Second is the mounting bracket. So it's fairly similar to the original prototype that I made. I've only made a couple of small changes to it. These two left side slots here are what's going to mount it to the AE86 chassis. Now, the positioning that you've seen in the production photos or the group buy photos was with the bolt holes on the right side of these slots. So the position of the catch can against the strut tower is ideally when this bracket is slid all the way to the left. Now some people were mentioning concern about possible interference with a strut tower brace on their car. So let's say you had a strut tower brace that comes diagonally this way. What I did was I slotted these brackets significantly so the whole catch can sort of slide away from your brace if it is an issue. Now additionally, I've added these two other holes. These aren't going to be used if you're mounting it into an AE86, but it gives you two other locations that you could potentially branch off of if you decided to use this catch can in a more universal application or a chassis that had similar fitment as an AE86, but the bolt holes weren't identical. I've also increased the size of the landing pad here, which is going to have a heat-resistant foam pad that sticks to it. And this is what's going to butt up against the back side of the catch can to keep it sturdy and from vibrating. So back over on the reservoir side, there's only a couple of small changes that I've made to the coolant reservoir. And I'll show you what I've done to the bottom, or the body of the reservoir as I call it. So these two ports on the bottom here, this one is the inlet from your radiator, and this is for the sight glass to see how full it is. On the prototype version, this hole was up here above it, but I decided it would be more helpful if the sight glass level started lower, just so that you can see more coolant level. So this is moved over to the left side instead of above the inlet. Secondly, I talked about whether or not there was going to be a gasket or an RTV sealant in between the two layers. What I ended up doing was actually just adding an O-ring groove. Let's see if we can see it. An O-ring groove around the top surface. So this is a 1/16 round Viton O-ring that's going to go in here, and it's just going to sandwich in between the layers. Because this isn't a pressurized unit, it doesn't have to be an extremely great seal. It just has to keep the coolant from leaking. So as of making this video, I've actually already set up the first operation of running the production version of these, and you can see that O-ring pressed into the top surface here. So this is actually the first operation on the production version of the reservoir portion of the catch can. So I've also gone back and I've re-updated all of the programming to make sure that everything is production worthy. When I do a prototype, most of the programming is very conservative. It's kind of slow. I'm not taking big heavy cuts. But once we do get into production, I really need to go back, edit all those programs, make any changes that I saw were needed while I was doing the prototype, and also speed things up. Because we sold about double the amount that I was expecting to sell during the pre-order, this is incredibly important so that we can try to stay as close as we can to the timeline that we originally set forth. Again, I said we are kind of pushed back a little bit on our timeline because I got sick, Stacy was sick, and also because we are going to have to produce more than we were expecting. But again, it's probably just going to be pushed back a couple of weeks at this point. If you do have any questions about the status of your order, feel free to direct message me or email us, and I'll give you the best estimate that I can for when you're going to be seeing your order. For all of those catch cans, we actually have received just about everything that we need to get these things machined and assembled. I have all of the drain fittings, all of the sight glass material and fittings. I have all of the filter element that's going to go inside of the catch can. I am still waiting on the 1-inch breather filters to arrive. The mounting brackets and baffles are currently at the laser. We should have those about the same time that I finish machining, so everything should kind of align correctly. And to try to save some time, because we are in kind of a remote area of San Diego, we can't get metal deliveries as frequently as I would like. I actually drove all the way down to San Diego this morning and loaded up the back of our Prius with about 800 pounds of aluminum so that I could get started on these today. Let me show you what that looks like, putting 800 pounds of aluminum in the back of a Prius C. So that's about all I really have for you guys right now because I'm still really not feeling that well, and I'll have a much better update for you guys next week. I'll also kind of talk about what I've got 3D printing right now, which is actually a very cool project and something I think you guys will be very interested in. So anyway, I will see you guys next week.